never asked again.
No, that was a coal miner. Coal miners is pancakes, 2 eggs, 2 bacon. Bacon and eggs, and then you got hash browns and toast. Well, I didn't hear anything about it. BD is a breakfast sandwich if you want to go tea. And then the coal miners is 2 pancakes, 2 eggs, and bacon.
Oh, you're done. We'll say something.
Challenge any of my words.
Gluten. Gluten? Gluten.
Yeah. Big group.
Hello, and welcome to Now You're Onto Something, a game show where we ask our contestants deep questions and we try to unveil a deeper side of life. And we hope to bring you interesting guests, interesting answers, and most importantly, a winner. Our first guest is Mike Davis. He is currently the president of Moms Against Gluten.
Yep.
And I'd like you to say a little bit more about that.
Well, I funded the group because gluten just sneaks in everywhere, and like you know, you're not paying attention. Like, oh, your cereal, or oh, your favorite bread, or whatever. I don't actually know.
It can be a fatal allergy.
Exactly. Yeah. And there was a bunch of moms that didn't like it, so I was like, let's just start this group. And that is how I became the president of Moms Against Gluten.
How big is your organization?
Just let me shy at 2 million. Just a tad.
Oh God!
Yeah.
Are you on Facebook?
Oh yeah.
All right. Yeah, social media is really important for these Kickstarter groups. Anyway, we'll get back to that. Okay. Our next guest is David Norton. He's a hypnotherapist. Very interesting. Our first hypnotherapist. I think we had our last show. We had someone a little strange, but sort of related. She was a therapist, but this is a hypnotherapist. Father, swimming coach. Tell me a little thing about your history. When did you start becoming a hypnotherapist?
Well, several years ago, I smoked cigarettes. I was living in the basement of my mother's house. Mm-hmm. You probably know a lot of people in that position. She said, you have to quit smoking. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to send you to a hypnotist. And
how old were you?
20.
Okay.
And I thought it was the most hilarious idea. And so I dressed up as wildly as I could, showed up at the Hypnosis Center in Buffalo, New York, and proceeded to laugh through the entire experience. Laughed out the door, gave them the fee, and told my mother that she had absolutely thrown away her money. Mm-hmm. 3 days later, I realized I hadn't had a cigarette. I hadn't thought about a cigarette, and I just couldn't smoke one. And so I went back there, and I said, you've got to show me how to do this. And that's how I became a hypnotist. My mother made me do it.
Wow.
Thank goodness I got out of that basement.
Yeah. So you'd say it changed your life for the better?
Yeah.
Very integral. All right.
Yeah.
Wow. So how many, in a week, how many people do you think you would see, or in a month, for hypnotherapy?
Well, I'm really not good at math. But I see on the average 6 or 7 people a day.
Oh,
And
wow.
I work
Wow.
5.5 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week.
Wow. So
Sometimes they
actually
make
pretty-
house calls, sometimes they go to hospitals. But the bulk of my practice is in my office.
What's the strangest addiction that you've ever
The strangest,
addiction that you've ever had to help someone with?
boogers.
Addiction to eating boogers?
Yeah.
Wow.
How old was this person?
He was, at the time, probably 68 years old.
Whoa! Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah, and he suffered. His wife was going to divorce him after 40 years. She just couldn't take it anymore. He was mortified by it.
This has been like a lifetime of eating boogers.
And he was cured in 1 session.
Incredible.
Wow.
Do most addictions, are most addictions cured in 1 session?
No. Addictive work can, well, it can be complicated. It's not, there are cases where a good hypnotic intervention has made a difference and just woke someone up. But quite often we're talking about a physiology that has to be paid attention to.
Like you mean like a drug addiction with physical, because
Exactly.
they're a physically addicted
Right.
person.
So if I hypnotize someone and tell them not to take a drink and they're in advanced alcoholism, that could kill them.
Yeah.
So in someone like that, certainly you want to work in conjunction with their physician or, one of the institutes.
Yeah, like if they go into rehab, hopefully they could have like a hypnotist.
There's a place for hypnosis in the rehab that's very incredibly helpful. And there's scant literature and research on it. My own experience with it has been profound. But generally, as I said, when I'm working with something at that level, I need to be working with a physician or a treatment center.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
But again, if you look into the work of Milton Erickson, there are stories that come under the category of like the man who changed overnight. Erickson would hypnotize someone and suggest a dream to them. And when they came out of that dream, they were a different person without the addiction.
That's, I wanted to ask, can you change someone's personality? Like who they are?
Well, you can sort of get them to be more who they are, if you're talking about that kind of change. You can help get rid of a false personality or a destructive aspect of a personality, or what, the Jungians would call a complex, a parent complex.
Could you create a complex?
Sure. You could create a positive complex in someone. There's a famous case in Erickson called The February Man, where he created a character in this girl's childhood that would show up at birthdays and Christmas and give her special presents. And it just boosted her confidence and self-esteem. And it erased this empty childhood that was loveless.
That's really cool.
And that's called changing personal history.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I guess, I want to ask you, if you could change someone's personal history, like change what they like. Like if they were a fan of The Simpsons, could you change them to be a fan of Seinfeld?
I'm trying to put this in a way that agrees with that. In order to be who you want to be, you have to be who you've been. And so if that were necessary to help you achieve something, we could do that.
Okay.
For example, a hypnotic study done by the Bowers of Canada and the University of Waterloo in 1972 took college students and hypnotized them to believe that they were various famous people. Like the art majors, they would pick their favorite artist, and the music majors, their favorite piano player or whatever. And they found this incredible enhancement, not only in their creativity, but in playing pieces that they had never attempted before, or painting things in detail that just came out of their unconscious.
Yeah, I've heard of that, like insane people that will like become incredible or play the violin.
Painted in complete darkness.
Oh, weird.
Just let it come out of his unconscious somehow.
The tiger. Yeah. Well, he did. Well, he did like what wood carvings in his book. What is it?
Yeah, the Book of Job.
Oh, is it William Blake who had the two books? The Book of Experience
And
the
Innocence.
Book of Innocence.
Good. Good memory there.
Did you know are you familiar with those books?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, as the president of Moms Against Gluten.
Yeah, Blake, he was a gluten freak.
Yeah.
What do you think of? How do you think the Tiger as a poem relates to gluten and gluten disorders in the 21st century?
The tiger, much like gluten, is very fierce. And so we, as the Moms Against Gluten, must also be fierce to counteract it.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna ask another question. It's a little out there, but I want you to answer
All right.
first. I didn't write this question. I'm still pondering. It's a deep question. I'm still pondering. What is the meaning of a personal narrative? Do the events and characteristics that define us really exist in a tangible way, or do we merely collect shadows that we come to depend on to reflect our true feelings, falsely or rightly?
Yes.
Okay.
Some people wait their whole lives for that question.
Yeah, they wait their whole lives to be asked that question. It's sort of frightening, almost in a way, to be asked that question. It kind of throws you into notness, into angst, to be asked, whether that which you hold on to is really real.
Well, the famous Zen master was giving a lecture, and someone said, "Master, what is enlightenment?" And he said, "Who's asking?" And he said, "I'm asking." And the master said back, "Who am I?"
Who am I? Oh, and that was the kind of yeah. Enlightenment is, I don't even know. Who knows what enlightenment is? It's like a letting go.
Well, supposedly if you know you're enlightened, you're not enlightened.
Yeah.
Because you're still identifying with the self somehow.
Yeah. Oh. Oh, the idea is that
You've
let go.
annihilated the self, and you're just at one with the entire cosmos.
Oh, jeez.
Sort of like being in a hypnotic trance.
I don't think we have any enlightened people in America. George Bush.
Wow. Robert Bly, maybe.
Who?
Robert Bly is a poet from Minnesota. He's somewhat enlightened.
Poets. I like poetry. Okay. What can you tell about someone's soul by staring into their eye? We're going to come back with that question because the plan was to stare into both your eyes for a while. And, well, we should wrap it up. Mike, you've lost. Gluten really didn't apply to these questions, but you tried. We're going to hang on to Norton, David Norton, and we're going to have our second guest after this break. All right, you're watching now, you're onto something.